Okay, so what's up, guys? I believe you stumbled across this video probably because you're looking for information about CrowdStrike. The share price is down about 11%, not that much anyways, about 11%. However, since the past 6 months from the last high 390, it's down about 22%. And probably you're here wondering, hey, is this a good time, to buy CrowdStrike? Or maybe you're a shareholder of CrowdStrike yourself and you're wondering, is my stock in trouble? So just to give a little bit of background, okay, I've been following this company since 2019, yeah, or maybe near 2020, early 2020, and I've been investing in it as well, and it has made me really a lot of money. So that goes without saying that I'm probably biased, okay, in this video. However, despite that, I will be as objective as possible. If it's good, I'll say it's good. If it's not good, I'll say it's not good. And the thing is, I'm going to give you my perspective after following this company for such a long time. Today is the reason why the share price fell is because there is apparently a large IT outage, all right, especially for customers who use Microsoft, right? There's a major IT outage across the world, and this is because of a CrowdStrike update. So what happened was customers of CrowdStrike who also use Microsoft Windows, apparently CrowdStrike pushed an update which caused every computer to, in a way, malfunction, all right? Or maybe another word is to display a blue screen, which means an error screen. This also means many services couldn't get through, all right? Many, like in the airports, many flights have to be delayed, halted. Banks cannot operate properly, payments cannot go through, retailers cannot generate sales, so on and so forth. A lot of problems, okay? So it happened worldwide because CrowdStrike serves customers globally. And the repercussions of this is very big in a way that the shares of CrowdStrike has dropped by about 11% in one night. So the management and the IT team have already been, constantly communicating with shareholders and constantly communicating with customers, right, on their social media, not just on the CEO. This is the CEO, by the way, George Kurtz, right? Not just by social media communications, but also through the customer support portal. So everyone is trying to get every customer back on track as fast as possible. So the question today that, probably why you're here is you're wondering, hey, is this a problem for CrowdStrike? The shares are down, whether is this a buying opportunity, so on and so forth. So first and foremost, I want to share with you what I think, all right? So if you go through social media, you read the chat, is 800, I'm not going to read it all. But if you go through, Twitter, you go through YouTube, you go through forums, you read opinions by analysts, so on and so forth. Okay, they will say things like, okay, this is a problem when one company monopolizes everything. Okay, they will say things like, if CrowdStrike is so bad at this, why not we just move to a competitor, go to a more reliable competitor, okay, so on and so on. So there are many criticisms. So the internet is basically very harsh to CrowdStrike about this, no surprise. But I'll share with you how CrowdStrike became this big in the first place. So first and foremost, I follow CrowdStrike for many years, so I know that they have progressed from a nobody, right, a very small player in the cybersecurity space, to one of the leaders, right, the biggest player in the space today, especially for endpoint detection and response. What is endpoint detection and response, or EDR? It's just, a branch of cybersecurity. It's too much to explain over here. Very long story. But it's one of a very important branch in cybersecurity whereby it protects the endpoint, meaning the end customers' devices such as a computer, a tablet, your phone, okay, or whatever devices that you use. So it's a very, very famous endpoint detection response, or EDR software. Okay. So the thing is, CrowdStrike got to where they are, okay, number one in market share, number one in whatever metrics you want to mention. It is not because the government requires customers to do it. It is not because they have some sort of market power which can force customers to choose them. The reason why they got to this position in the first place is because their products are, number one, more effective, generally more effective, efficient, and number two, the total cost of ownership is cheaper. So what do I mean by total cost of ownership? So if you were to subscribe for Microsoft cybersecurity products, for example, you cannot just buy the Defender product, the basic Windows Defender. You also have to add on multiple different services. And when you add on multiple different services from Microsoft, then the total cost, all right, you need to calculate. That is the total cost of ownership. So the customers realize, right, if I were to subscribe for all these different services from, McAfee or Microsoft or so forth, they have to subscribe to all these different services, right? Then probably they realize that the total cost of ownership is much higher, it's more expensive than if I were to use CrowdStrike. Because if they were to use CrowdStrike, they find that if I pay for everything similar to what I pay for everything for a competitor, the cost of ownership for CrowdStrike is cheaper. And not only that it is cheaper, it is also much more effective at preventing breaches, all right, or cybersecurity attacks. And many of Microsoft customers actually move on to CrowdStrike because they were constantly breached by they were constantly breached when they use Microsoft cybersecurity services. Okay, so this is how CrowdStrike got to this level. And when they were proven to be very, very good, right? Their products are very, very good. Then what happens is that their customers naturally promote them. So what do I mean? You see, in the cybersecurity industry, I mean, at least for CrowdStrike and maybe many other players here, majority of the offerings, right? Majority of their customers are resellers, distributors, or managed detection and services, or MDR service providers. So what do I mean? Let's say I am a company, I sell whatever. I can sell nail clippers, I can sell remote control, I can sell whatever. But if let's say my company, I want it to be protected, I want my whole database, my whole digital footprint, my whole company's IT to be protected from cyber attacks, right? I probably won't go to CrowdStrike directly because, well, I do not know anything about cybersecurity. I won't even know CrowdStrike exists. Maybe today I will know CrowdStrike exists because, maybe today I will know CrowdStrike exists because of the global outage, right? But the thing is, a regular customer wouldn't know what cybersecurity brand to choose. So what they will do is they will approach an MDR service provider. So just to give you a little bit of sharing, right? MDR. So MDR basically is managed detection and response service provider, meaning a company that does cybersecurity on behalf of the end clients. Okay. So what happens is that these MDR service providers, they could be using CrowdStrike themselves. So customers don't go directly to CrowdStrike. They use CrowdStrike because service providers like, MDR service providers, they use CrowdStrike themselves. So here is what happens. Okay, here is what's happening. As of, this is when 31st of May 2023. So you can see I've been following for quite a while. As of last year, actually, 31st of May, CrowdStrike is number one in terms of market share. Okay, and the reason why they're number one is because they are used by 88% of the top MDR providers in the industry. So if you think about it, let's say, the top 20 cybersecurity service providers, right? The top 10 or top 20, 88% of these top 10 or top 20, I don't know how many, 88% of the top MDR service providers use CrowdStrike. Now, when the top players all use CrowdStrike to service their end customers, naturally, CrowdStrike is going to be in almost every, country already. They're naturally going to be like that, okay? Because, the top service providers all use CrowdStrike, or 88% use CrowdStrike. That's almost majority. And this is what led to CrowdStrike becoming such a big player today, okay? And that is why a single update error from CrowdStrike literally took the whole IT, the whole IT to its knees, the global IT to its knees, okay? Yeah, so that is the issue. Now, the thing is, people will say that, you know what? What's the implication to CrowdStrike in this case? Will the company be in terrible situation? Will they lose customers? First and foremost, we must know what does CrowdStrike do, right? They provide cybersecurity. Just because this situation happened doesn't mean a company is going to stop using cybersecurity. They cannot afford to do so. If you stop using cybersecurity products, right, what is going to happen is that your company is going to get hacked left, right, center, and most likely what's going to happen is you're going to lose even more. You're going to lose billions of dollars and reputation as well. Okay, imagine your whole database got hacked. That's what companies are trying to avoid when they use cybersecurity products. It is too important already. Now, people would also say, oh, you know what? If CrowdStrike is not reliable, then I'm going to move the competitor. I'm going to move to Palo Alto. I'm going to move to SentinelOne, whoever. Here is the thing. Customers move from those competitors to CrowdStrike. Then they move to CrowdStrike willingly because CrowdStrike is better in terms of service quality, and they are also cheaper in terms of total cost, total cost of ownership. So imagine because of one incident, they move back to the old competitor who has been giving them problem, motivate them to move to CrowdStrike in the first place. I think eventually they're going to regret. Yeah, because imagine, you move, from one company to another company, from one terrible company to another company, then you realize this company had one small issue, and you move back to the worst company for your job. I think you're going to regret even more. So I find it, personally myself, maybe you can say I'm biased or whatnot, but personally myself, I find it quite unbelievable for customers to move back to a competitor that they just, run away from. And for me, if they want to move back to this competitor that they run away from in the first place, CrowdStrike will need to continue to deteriorate, which means this is the first outage, right? They need to keep on having problems. So if more and more problems arises, then probably yes, they will move back to the worst competitor. Okay, but as of now, there's only one issue, and they're almost fixing the issue already. So I don't think it's severe for now. Now, the third thing that people would argue is that, oh, you know what, CrowdStrike has caused so many companies to lose billions of dollars. You look at the airline industry, wow, flight delays, flight cancellations, banks cannot operate properly, retailers cannot collect payments, massive losses. And then they will say, oh, you know what? CrowdStrike only has $3.7 billion in the balance sheet in terms of cash. They cannot afford to pay all the liability. They will be sued to oblivion. To burst your bubble, just to show you something. Okay, show you this, yeah. So in 2021, AWS have in 2021, Amazon Web Services, there are 3 outages in a single month. Okay, 3 outages, AWS, and basically it exposes a weak point on the internet's backbone. Imagine in 1 month, AWS got 3 problems and customers keep facing issue, their website cannot load, or they cannot process payments, whatever. Today, right, that is 2021. If you see today, right, today they are still the largest in terms of market share. Okay, so number one, I believe people eventually will forget about it as long as the problem don't repeat itself. If it keeps on repeating, then we'll see a problem. But if it's only a one-time issue and they fix it, make sure it never happens again, I think very likely people are going to forget about it. And number two, we talk about liability, right? So just to show you something, yeah, if you go to CrowdStrike, not this, I go to their terms of usage. So I just highlighted this, so I just read out a little bit for you. CrowdStrike shall not be liable to software user for any lost profits, revenue saving, lost business opportunity, lost data, or special incidental, consequential, or punitive damages, even if CrowdStrike has been advised of the possibility of such damages or losses, or such damages or losses were reasonably foreseeable. Okay, so there is a limitation of liability. Now, you may say, wow, CrowdStrike, how can they have this kind of thing? So they are not liable to all the business losses, right? I can tell you one thing, this is a very common term, right? If you go over to, this is for Amazon Web Services, you will see the same thing. If you go over to competitors like SentinelOne, right, you will see the same thing, limitations of liability. Okay, yeah. If you go to Palo Alto, you also see the same thing. Where is it? Limitations of like yeah, limitation of liability. Almost every company, right? Okay, here it is. Yeah, yeah, similar thing. Okay, yeah. Well, in no event shall Palo Alto never be liable for damages whatsoever. Okay, yeah. So there's always this limitation of liability clauses which protects the company from excessive losses, especially when it comes to providing their services. So the only one thing that will probably, bring concern to me is the reputation for the CrowdStrike brand. And currently the team is doing their PR, their public relations. They are trying to fix the situation. So far, mostly fixed already, some residual issues left. Okay, so they are doing their best to address the PR issue. But my take in terms of their reputation, right, as long as this thing don't keep repeating, I think, all right, I personally think eventually it'll be forgotten, all right, and people will go back to business as usual. And here's the thing, election for the US election is coming in about 4 months. Today's July, right? In about 3 to 4 months, US election will come around. I'm very sure that people will probably forget about this really. Okay, so these are my personal takes as of now as a long-time shareholder for CrowdStrike. And yeah, take it or leave it, man. So here's the thing. If you really enjoy this sharing, we do appreciate that if you follow and subscribe to our channel. Okay, so that's all I have for you now. Look forward to see you again. Bye.